Last August, the Rim Fire destroyed 400 square miles of timber in the Sierra Nevada. It left behind hundreds of millions of board feet of dead timber that can still be salvaged. But as I pointed out earlier, time's of the essence. Within a year, the fire-killed timber loses much of its value. Yet the current environmental review process takes a year to complete, and then litigation starts and runs out the clock on what remains of that perishable resource. 16,000 acres of the destroyed timber is on private land owned by Sierra Pacific Industries. It does not face the bureaucratic obstacles that we face on the public land. SPI is already halfway through its salvage. It will be completed by summer. They'll use a portion of those proceeds to replant their devastated acreage. But meanwhile, the timber on the public land continues to rot and decay. The earliest the Forest Service can conclude its environmental review is August, and then the litigation process will start, and then it will be too late. The cost will be hundreds of jobs, millions of dollars of lost economic activity, millions of dollars of lost salvage revenues that could otherwise be used by the federal government for reforestation of the public lands. Now, Title IX of the bill in its current form was based on bipartisan language introduced by Senator Tom Daschle to expedite salvage in the Black Hills National Forest. But these provisions were opposed from the other side of the aisle. So I sat down with the Forest Service and opposition offices to work out a process that will assure that salvage can begin by spring while maintaining both environmental and judicial review. And I particularly want to thank Chief Tom Tidwell for his technical assistance and that of his office. This amendment is the product of these talks. It authorizes the Forest Service to select acreage for salvage where there's no wilderness, ESA, historic, or other legal restrictions. It authorizes them to implement the draft EIS that's expected to be completed by April and deems the draft as compliant with all applicable environmental reviews. This will allow salvage to begin under their direction in April. It authorizes the Forest Service to modify the draft EIS in response to public comment and allows for judicial review of the final EIS based on ecological impacts. It merely bars litigation based on process, and it bars temporary restraining orders. This will allow the timely salvage of a portion of the public lands destroyed by the fire while the final EIS is prepared and while any judicial review proceeds. And finally, it authorizes the Forest Service to use the millions of dollars raised by the salvage for forest restoration in the devastated Sierra. This compromise language assures compliance with all environmental laws and maintains judicial review while assuring that salvage can begin this spring. That's also important to the economy of the region that's been devastated by the fire and by increasingly stringent federal restrictions and land acquisitions that have ravaged the timber, livestock, mineral, and tourist industries upon which these mountain communities depend. It means jobs for hundreds of lumberjacks, mill workers, truckers, and all those who support them. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Will the gentleman yield before he resumes?
Yes, I'll yield.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I just want to say that